This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
A countdown of victims that will end at midnight, unless our dear Dark Knight stops me first. Hello, Gotham. Joker's back in town.
It's funny. I know about all your other major enemies, but you never mention him. He was the biggest, wasn't he?
It wasn't a popularity contest. He was a psychopath. A monster.
Hey everybody, this is Bat-Fans. Yes, we're still here. This is episode number 187. My name is Dane, and with me today, as always, is Tim. Tim, so the Yankees are hanging on by the skin of their pants, right?
We're still alive, Dane. We're still alive. Well, as of we're recording this episode on Saturday, October 19th, so by the time you're listening to this episode, we could be well into the World Series or eliminated. So we'll find out over this weekend. But man, it's been a stressful week.
Skin of their teeth. Sorry.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. So not as easy, I'd say, for the Astros as I thought it was going to be.
I knew going into it wasn't going to be an easy series for both teams, but it was starting to look like it was going to be easy for the Astros in games 2, 3, and 4, where they just really, I don't want to say took it to the Yankees because they didn't score too many runs. They pitched good, but the Yankees offense, God, it just fell asleep and needed to wake up, and it definitely did in game 5, at least for an inning. But man, they just could not score runners in scoring position. Their defense was awful in game 4. It just looked like they were done in game 4. It's like a team that was just, disillusioned of what's happening, and this, I don't want to say mail it in because this is the playoff. I just think they took a punch to the face and didn't get up. But so I was prepared for them to lose game 5 because the way game 4 ended, they just did not look like a team they just looked like a beaten team. But they showed some fight. In game 5, they scored 4 runs off Verlander in the first inning, which sounded like an impossibility with Verlander just owning the Yankees in the postseason. So they got some life back last night. I think that game 4, where they just had a miserable game offensively, defensively, it was almost like a wake-up call for the team. Like, that's as bad as it can get for a performance. And I was hoping it would snap, like they'd realize that, this can't happen. I mean, we're one of the best teams in baseball. We're in the American League Championship Series. We got to wake up and play our game, and they did that last night. So there's some hope, but it's still going to be a tough task going back to Houston and winning these 2 games. So, but they're giving me some hope, and with that, it's made me more nervous because after game 4, I was accepting, they're probably not going to do it. They just, the Astros are just, showing that the Yankees are not going to beat them in this series after the performances they had in those 3 games. But so I was accepting, with Verlander on the mound, they'll probably close. I should say I was expecting them to close the deal, but it was something that was more of a probability that with Verlander on the mound, the Astros were probably going to get it done in game 5. But the Yankees stopped them, and now they've given me some hope. And all they got to do is win today and force the game 7 where anything can happen. So, but the nerves are back in, so we'll see what happens tonight. But it's been a stressful week.
I wish I knew what that felt like.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you lose one game and you're out of the postseason.
Not even a series.
Yeah. And on top of that, guess what, Tim? Would you believe if I said that the Oakland Athletics are having trouble with their stadium again?
You don't say. I am shocked.
So, to build this new stadium at Howard Terminal, which is on the bay, they would need to convert the property or the area that the Coliseum stands on, the current Coliseum stands on.
Uh-huh.
So what they did was they convinced. Okay, so the Coliseum is called the Oakland Alameda Stadium, right?
Yeah, some big
So
long name that keeps
yeah,
changing.
yeah. So Alameda County is the county that Oakland is in, I think. So Alameda County tried to sell their shares in the Coliseum to the A's, but the city of Oakland somehow, I don't know how you can do this, but tried to or is blocking the sale of the shares by suing Alameda County.
Oh man. Seems like it's always the city of Oakland,
Yeah,
getting in the way of them getting something with their new stadium.
and I understand it because I mean, I guess from what I've read and from not living there, Oakland it's not a very prosperous city, um, and so they don't want to pay to they don't want to use taxpayer money to build the stadium. It has to be entirely privately funded, right?
Mm.
And I understand that. I totally get that. I mean that taxpayer money should go to something better than a baseball stadium that's going to be used for 6, 7 months out of the year. So yeah, I understand, but it's just frustrating already. And
Yeah.
at this point, it's extremely frustrating. There was the college campus one that ended badly after the college board of directors wouldn't even show up to the meetings
I know
and
it's
preliminary meetings, Tim. And so, yeah, it's not very pretty. But I do understand that, and I do get it that the people of Oakland don't want their taxpayer money, or at least the politicians in Oakland don't want um, the taxpayer money to go to a stadium. Um, and they'd rather use it for something else. I totally get that. Um, and I believe the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, had to fly to Oakland to be like, look, if this sale of shares doesn't go through, the A's are gonna move.
wow.
He had to like, so he had to
He's actually got to be
fly.
there in person.
Yeah.
So,
So
wow.
yeah, it's getting bad, and it's almost to the point where I think Oakland, I think the Athletics are just gonna have to move already.
It seems that might just be for the best because how many times can this happen to them?
Yeah,
Where
but where are they gonna move to Vegas
that's
with
one
the
I keep
Raiders?
hearing.
Yeah, are they gonna move to Vegas with the Raiders? And is there a baseball field there?
Hey, they
I
could share
I
with the
got
Raiders again in Las Vegas.
that 50-yard marker or whatever in the infield.
It's becoming their signature look for the
Yeah.
stadium, so might as well continue it.
But yeah, I know they say there's a minor league ground, that there's a minor league field um, in Las Vegas that the A's could use. So
A minor league field. That's what it's going to come down to. At least till they get something built, I hope.
yeah, yeah, at least you get to play in the ALCS against one of the best, probably the best team in baseball.
Yeah, well, they're showing it, but
Yeah,
hopefully the Yankees will prove that to be wrong. These take
yeah.
these next two games.
But let's do our minute by minute commentary. Enough with the bad Oakland A's Coliseum Stadium news because it's always bad news
I
when it
know.
comes.
One of these days it's going to be good, Dane. One of these days.
But yeah, just we're going from minute 135 to 136, so the 2 hour and 15 minute mark. to the 2 hour and 16-minute mark. And as always, grab your VHS tape, grab your Beta Max tape, grab your Laserdisc, grab your HD DVD, grab your Blu-ray, grab your 4K. I think we just got to add that in there already.
I know with these new talk about PlayStation 5s and Xbox, we're talking about 8K capabilities, so might as well.
Grab your Blockbuster rental, grab your Netflix physical subscription, DVD, grab your DVD. I forgot DVD, I think. And of course, how can you forget the way this movie is supposed to be seen, and all movies are supposed to be seen nowadays? Grab your VHS to DVD converted copy. So, Tim, are you ready?
I got my converted copy ready to go.
All right. 3, 2, 1, hit play.
We're just smacked right in the middle of the second Bane and Batman fight. And not as good as the first one, but I do like this fight a lot, where just Batman really lays into Bane here, and then Bane just loses it, which I hope we get to in this minute.
Must be hurting his hand because he's like punching metal. You know, when he punches Bane in the face.
Well, that's what his, gauntlets are for. I think it protects him. Right here, Bane's struggling to get his breathing structures on his mask to work. But this part right here, where Bane just goes all out and this punches that just starts hitting the pillars there. I just love that.
It's a design flaw on that mask. Like if it's crucial that you need this Venom thing, you should probably put it someplace else, right?
Maybe they didn't have much to work with.
Yeah.
Batman has officially defeated Bane here as he kicks him through the door.
The music.
One last kick before the minute's over.
All right, and that's our minute-by-minute commentary. We're getting close to the end, Tim.
Yeah, this is a pretty big one. Batman Bane confrontations all over. It's got a little bit more dialogue between them, and then that's it.
Talia, and then the whole last sequence.
Wait, did you just spoil something, Dane?
Oh,
you mean Miranda Tate, right?
Sorry. Miranda Tate. Even though that, what was her name? Spoiled the surprise before.
The young actress who played her as a kid.
Yeah. But yeah, that's our minute-by-minute commentary. And Tim, why don't you tell everybody about our featured topic for this episode?
Yeah, so I think the buzz surrounding Joker is still going strong. It's doing great at the box office. I mean, it had a great opening weekend, and it had a really good second opening weekend. I think the drop-off percent was like one of the lowest for a comic book movie. So still a lot of talk about it, and it's doing good at the box office. So, and we kind of alluded to this when we were having our discussion about it, about how great Joaquin Phoenix's performance as the Joker was. And now that there is so many different portrayals of the Joker, I think it's about time, we continue that discussion to finally rank our top Joker portrayals. And I was going back and forth originally. Should it just be top Joker performances, just basing off, the performances by the actors, or just, the portrayals of the Joker, or like the adaptions of him? I mean, no, it should be a combination of both. So why these picks would be our favorites, combining the performances by the actor and just how the adaptation of the character was portrayed. And this is going across all medias, movies, video games, animation. So yeah, this is going to be our top 5 Joker portrayals. As always, we like to keep the number at 5 and maybe give a few honorable mentions. So yeah, this one, you might guess already what number 1 might be for us, because we kind of talked about it in our Joker review. But once we get to the top 2, I would say right now I was going back and forth on it, and I still don't know what my number 1 actually is, but I'll probably have to make the critical decision when we get to it. But
but it was actually really easy for me after I kind of thought about it, and was just like, oh, okay, yeah, that is the definitive portrayal of Joker.
Well, I'll be interesting to find out what that is. So,
I mean, you could probably guess it, but
yeah, but I don't know. When it comes to this stuff, we usually have similar picks, but when we get to our number 1s, they're usually different.
Yeah,
so
which is a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
It'd be kind of boring if all our choices were exactly the same.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start it off, Dane. What is your number 5 pick?
All right, so my number 5 pick is, and I have to be really specific here, is the Arkham series Joker.
Okay.
Just in total, because he appears in all 3 games.
Yep.
So yeah, just all 3. I mean, it's your typical Mark Hamill portrayal, except for that one Troy Baker one.
Which is still also
in
good.
Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just in all 3 games, I like the story. I know a lot of people don't like it, especially the second one.
Really?
Or,
I don't hear that narrative too often.
Sorry, was it the third one that people were complaining about?
I don't remember hearing too much complaints about how the Joker was portrayed in the game.
Thought I heard
I know there are complaints about the gameplay stuff for Arkham Knight, but maybe it's just stuff I'm not aware of. Maybe it is out there, but
well, anyway, yeah, it's your typical Mark Hamill Joker. It's a little more sinister than his animated series portrayal, but he does what I think is kind of missing, or what was missing in somebody like Joaquin Phoenix's or Heath Ledger's Joker or Jared Leto's Joker, where it's menacing and it's creepy, but he still keeps that lightheartedness about it, right? He doesn't forget that. So yeah, for me, it's the 3, 4, maybe, yeah, 4. Even though I didn't complete the Origins,
you're just missing about a couple of minutes of his story and origins. So.
But yeah, Mark Hamill in the Arkham games.
Well, yeah, I mean, I really loved how they did him in Arkham Knight, just for how his, in Batman's head. I think that was just a great way to utilize him, because since he died in Arkham City, but to still have him continue on and just really have that effect on Batman in that game was just done really well. So I love that. And I'm also going to go with a video game, but it's not the Arkham portrayals of Joker. I'm actually going to go for my number 5 pick, Joker from the Batman Telltale games, specifically The Enemy Within. And the reason why I'm going with this one as my number 5 pick is just because how totally different and unexpected it was, but yet I think it totally worked and just was really a driving point of why I enjoyed that game, especially the second one, so much, because it's something that when you play a Batman game, watch a Batman movie, read a Batman comic, just when you intake a Batman story that has the Joker, you're always expecting him to be the villain. But this one, he was started off as not necessarily a good guy, but someone who wanted to be good, because he was an unnamed person named John Doe who you meet in Arkham Asylum in the first one. But then he's out in the second game. A lot of your interactions is with him. And what I loved about it is how pretty much his fate was in your hands as a player, where you got to choose by what the decisions you make, the conversations you have with him, if he'd go off the deep end and become the Joker, or there's the other path was to become a vigilante like Batman. And I just found that idea so fascinating and just such a really cool and unique idea to play with the Joker, as what if he can be on the side of good if he just was surrounded by the right people. And as you, the player, that was your responsibility. And I really like that aspect of the game. And I said this when we were reviewing each episode, how I was really trying hard in my decision making while playing that game to get Joker on, the straight and narrow path, the good path, and not have him become a villain. I wanted to see if that was a possibility. And even with all the decisions you make, the game does end up being where you do have that confrontation with the Joker by the end of it. But the ride that you take when you get there, I thought was just so fascinating. And just having this Joker who's, is still a mystery, because you don't know how he has, the white skin, the green hair, and how he looks like typical Joker. But he's just beginning here. He's not even a criminal yet. So just that idea of doing something totally different, having him kind of be almost like your first sidekick in certain aspects. And some of the missions you have to do in that game, which is really good. And I enjoyed the performance too by Anthony and Gruber, who did his voice. I forgot it was that actor, because I don't know if you know about Anthony and Gruber, but I think he was kind of made famous for doing a really great impersonation of Harrison Ford, and a lot of people were clamoring for him to be the young Han Solo in Solo because of his impersonation of Harrison Ford. And I didn't realize he was actually the voice for the Joker in this game, but he did a good job for a different take on the Joker. Like I said, who's someone who was teetering on the good and the bad side, but yet kind of being, knowing that he's not the most sane person that you're interacting with, and any little decision or choice that you make could set him off the deep end. So with all that stuff being so unique and different, combining with a good performance by Anthony and Gruber, I just really liked that portrayal of the Joker and the enemy within, just for how unique it was and how well it worked. Because that's an idea you wouldn't think they might not be able to pull off, but once you play the whole game, it really ended up being a satisfying new direction they took with the Joker. So that's going to be my number 5 pick.
Yeah, my number 4 is going to be, and I think I gotta explain it a little bit, is Cesar Romero.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why is because he knows he knows exactly what he's in for. He's playing a clown on a television show that's supposed to be a comedy, and he's just eating up the scenery in every single scene he's in the TV show and the movie. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's treating it like a joke, which it is. He's treating it like satire, which it is. It reminds me of what, and I feel like this doesn't get talked about enough with all you Star Wars fans, which is, and I forget his name, Domhnall Gleeson. Is that his name?
Yeah, it plays General Hux.
Yeah, who plays General Hux. He knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, he's eating up the scenery in every single scene he's in, except for that last part in The Last Jedi. I mean, come on, he's standing on a platform saying hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he plays it really good, especially in the beginning of The Last Jedi. So yeah, for that reason, Cesar Romero is my 4th choice, because he brings that flamboyant style, that scene eating performance, and he knows exactly what he's doing, and that this is a big joke. So yeah, for that, he's my number 4 pick.
Yeah, he's actually going to be one of my honorable mentions that I have, because you're exactly right. He knew what the series was, and he just chewed up the scenery every time he was on screen. And he was just perfect for that show and that time period for what Batman was during that era. He was the perfect Joker for that era. So I totally agree with you, but just not quite enough to crack my top 5, but definitely an honorable mention, even though he couldn't shave that mustache. That's always going to be his one knock.
Just paint over it, Tim.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they tried to, but still.
You can still see it.
Mustache. And I don't know if, speaking about, think about 2 weeks ago, I think when Joker came out, maybe a week before, there's this old interview that surfaced. I forget what it was for, but it was a news anchor interviewing him where he was in, behind the scenes, just a plain white t-shirt, but he had the Joker makeup on, smoking a cigarette, doing an interview, just talking how fun this gig is playing the Joker.
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
was pretty cool to see.
Exactly. He knew exactly what it was, and he brought himself to it, So
even the interviewer was kind of saying, kind of talking down on it as far as
Really?
this is just comic book silliness, and how does it feel to be playing something like this? Because all this is fun.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool to see. But my number 4 pick, for probably rank high on a lot of people's portrayals of the Joker, but I think this is a testament to how many great performances we've had since. And so my number 4 is going to be Jack Nicholson's Joker from Batman '89. I mean, talk about iconic when it first, came out. and everyone saw his portrayal of the Joker. It just pretty much blew everyone away. Just almost how perfect it was, but not quite perfect for me. It's not really his performance. This is something that's going to go more towards the portrayal aspect of the Joker. There's a lot of things I love, but there's a one big thing that takes away, or a few things actually, too. But I mean, Jack Nicholson did great both as Jack Napier and as the Joker. I talk about just how great his entrance is when he goes to Grissom and just kills him, but that great bit of dialogue he has there, the way that scene is shot, there's creepiness to it, but then he goes into that playful evil Joker where he's just having a blast killing the crime boss that he worked for, and, so it was that good balance, I think, that the Joker needs to have in being someone evil but yet has that playful side, and Jack Nicholson had that. But there is story elements that I like, even though there's a whole discussion about Joker having an origin and whatnot, I thought when they gave him work really well. And I always liked the idea of Joker kind of starting out as just a mobster or a hitman for the mob. And it also, I think it's at least that idea in the background for the Joker got, popularized by being in Batman 1989. So I did like that aspect. But when you throw in the story element of Joker or Jack Napier being the one to kill the Waynes and just have that connection to be Batman, I never liked it at the time, and that's still something of my biggest negative of that Joker portrayal. That, and the other thing I was alluding to was that he died in this movie. I mean, it's a shame that most, those early comic book movies, the mantra was always that you had to kill the main villain off. Thankfully, that's not the case anymore in a lot of these comic book movies, because it's just a shame to have, I don't want to say waste his performance, because it definitely wasn't a wasteful performance in this movie, but a shame that you couldn't have that opportunity to have it continue on if they wanted to. So the fact that they tried to have that connection between Joker and Batman by him killing the Waynes and having him die in the movie knocks Jack Nicholson's portrayal just a few notches down for being truly great. So, but it's still an iconic performance that will always, I think, stand the test of time and be recognized as, the first, great Joker portrayal that we got in cinema, and who would have thought back then there'd be more to come. So have to give him props and recognition for that alone, but it's just still always a blast seeing that Joker when you watch the movie.
What number am I on?
You're on number 3.
Number 3. Heath Ledger.
Wow, I'm surprised it's actually that low.
Yeah. Heath Ledger. For all the reasons why you think it is.
You should just say Heath Ledger, enough said.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm surprised it's that low. I thought for sure it'd be in the top 2. So interesting. Yeah. So my number 3 is going to be the most recent. Joaquin Phoenix is Joker. And, we talked about in our last episode of why we went into depth of why we think his portrayal was great. And just to reiterate that a little bit, just the character study this portrayal of the Joker was, and just get in the mind of how someone could become the greatest villain that Gotham would ever see, and just what we both thought how they did a great job in portraying that, both in the story that for the events that happened to Arthur Fleck to make him go down that path, and again the performance by Joaquin Phoenix, which was just mesmerizing. It sticks with you. And just the little nuances that he had with the way his dancing and his laughter that he had. So all that stuff just immediately made it an iconic performance of the Joker. And what makes it really special, because something that, I think plays a heavy factor in a great Joker portrayal is how he interacts with Batman and how their dynamic works in a movie or an animated movie or a series or a video game. But a testament to how great the story and Joaquin Phoenix performance is that he didn't have a Batman to go back and forth with. And it was still a great performance without that. But I think why it's at number 3, that's the biggest thing that sets it apart from my top 2, because it doesn't have that Batman connection. And to see how Joaquin Phoenix's Joker would play off with a Batman is something I would totally want to see. I mean, we said that in our review. We don't know if we're going to get that, but that's just the one thing, for the big thing for me anyway, that kind of keeps it back for being the greatest Joker performance that, it could be if we got that. So right now it's sitting At number 3.
I don't think that would work. Joaquin Phoenix Joker in a Batman movie.
I don't know. I think it could. The way that's one of the things I felt like after I watched the movie, where I wanted to see this Joker go up against the Batman.
Yeah. My number 2 is Joaquin Phoenix.
What a perfect segue.
What a perfect segue. For all the reasons why you mentioned and our entire last episode. Yeah, it's the most iconic Joker portrayal in my mind right now. Maybe it'll change with time, but yeah, it's the most iconic. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a testament that, again, how you felt that right away when you watched it, and just how what I'm amazed about is that it just sticks with you. I mean, we're 2 weeks out from seeing it, and there's still just moments throughout the day where I just think about the movie or certain scenes or moments that happened with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker that you just remember and think about. So it's just a sign of a great performance and adaptation of a character where it's sticking with you after 2 weeks after just seeing it once. So yeah, I mean, that's just great that we have that, or I should say, it's great that we got another Joker portrayal so soon that's already, up there as one of the greats. It's just, to me, amazing that it happened. Just not, I said this before too, just a testament to the character as a whole, just what a great creation of a villain fiction he was, that there are just so many great ways you can go about it and you get these great performances. So yeah, it's awesome. But this is the hard one. My top 2, what was it going to be? Animated series or Heath Ledger's?
Can I guess it before? I'm
Go
going
for
to
it.
say, because you're such an animated series fan, Mark Hamill is going to be your number 1. Okay? Number 2 is going to be Heath Ledger, because you like the Batman connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is iconic. And 3, it's the one that you've watched a lot of over the past 11 years. So he's the most impressionable one on you.
Ding 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 ding.
I got it exactly correct.
Yeah, I went with Heath Ledger Joker as my number 2 choice. It was hard. I mean, for a while he was my number 1. When I was thinking about this topic, I started really thinking, man, if I'm going to make this my definitive list, I really got to go over all the facts about these 2 Joker portrayals, Mark Hamill and Heath Ledger, and which one is my absolute favorite. And man, I kept going back and forth. I mean, for a couple of days I think it's Heath Ledger. Then another couple of days ago, it's Mark Hamill's. But I think I decided that Heath Ledger is going to be my second pick. I mean, we've talked about it so much, why it's great. I think it's going to be the Joker portrayal in live action that will always stand the test of time, no matter how many other great performances we get. I mean, this is the one that broke boundaries, and like you said, Dave, just so impressionable. It just, I think, really captured on a wide scale to a lot of people who aren't necessarily big comic book fans and Batman fans like us, of why the Joker is just such a great villain and character. And it's just the fact that so many people got to see that and really understand the reason why, because Heath Ledger really captured the essence of the Joker. And again, that Batman and Joker connection. I don't think it's going to be a while anyway, I think, until we get a Batman movie where you just get that strong, character interaction, character ideals that the Batman and Joker had, and to seeing them clash the way they did in The Dark Knight, that just perfectly captured of why he is Batman's greatest enemy. And to see that on screen for the first time, I just will always remember being blown away, just having that awesome feeling of that, man, nailing the just in capturing of why we love Batman and the Joker so much as a hero and villain. And it's all thanks to Heath Ledger's performance, the writing by Christopher and Jonathan Nolan, and just how they decided to adapt this character. I mean, pretty much my one nitpick would be, even though it works for the film, I do prefer the Joker who's, just all, falls into the chemicals and just all has the white bleached skin. But that's such a minor nitpick when you look at the grand scheme of things of how that movie portrayed the Joker and, the way he was just a force to be reckoned with throughout that movie. And again, the immovable force or the unstoppable force going against an immovable object, as he said at the end of the movie. Just so many moments. Every time he's on screen, you're just entranced. So, yeah, all that makes it my number 2 choice. And I'll get into why I had to settle on that being my number 2 choice and how the animated series one topped it. So, but before I get to that, let's hear your second choice, Dane. Or on your number 1, right?
Number 1, yeah.
Right,
yeah. My number 1, like you, is Mark Hamill. Just because I've heard his voice for so long, I've seen that Joker for so long, and it really is the Joker of my childhood. And it's the one that, I constantly go back to and be like, and think that, yeah, I mean, like, Heath Ledger can do what he did, Joaquin Phoenix can do what he did, or Jared Leto, who is surprisingly absent from our lists.
Is it really surprising?
Yeah, they can do what they want, but for me, it has been already cemented that Mark Hamill is the Joker. So yeah, that's why he's my number 1.
Yeah, and just the thing that I settled on as far as picking Mark Hamill's and just the Batman the Animated Series portrayal of the Joker as my number 1 is just the different aspects and sides we got to see of the Joker throughout the course of the series and the movies. I mean, I'll just get my one nitpick out of the way for how the Batman the Animated Series Joker was portrayed in some episodes. They did make him seem like a little bit too much of a coward in certain instances. And one of those is at the end of Joker's Favor, where Charlie throws that dynamite and that bomb at him, and Joker just gets really scared, hides behind Batman's cape. There's just certain instances that you show a little bit of his cowardice that I, wasn't necessarily my favorite. But that's just a minor nitpick that happened in just only very few instances of Batman the Animated Series. But going back
I mean, I can't believe I actually heard you criticize the animated series.
That might be a first. Yeah,
yeah, it's a first.
At the same time, that even that same episode, Joker's Favor, we see that sinister, evil side of the Joker that's just really terrifying when he's just him and Charlie alone on that hill in the forest, and Joker's threatening him, and just the idea that Joker takes his personal information and just leaves with that. He doesn't physically hurt him, but he just leaves with his wallet and ID, and he has Charlie, as he says, it becomes his hobby. And the idea that to me, that is more scarier than Joker doing any physical harm to someone like Charlie Collins. The fact that this Joker is going to have his eye on him and keep tabs on him for who knows how long. And it ends up being 2 years, I believe. And the idea that Charlie had to, relocate his family, change his name, do everything he can to get away from the Joker, but yet the Joker never lost him. And there's just something really terrifying about that Joker would do that to someone. So stuff like that the animated series did is just amazing, and just how they had the perfect balance of that playful, silly side of the Joker, but you still had that evil, terrifying Joker that he needs to be. And the main thing that really, when I thought about doing my rankings, that made me realize that Mark Hamill just out edges Heath Ledger is what went down in Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, both story-wise and performance-wise. I mean, that flashback sequence, we get a portrayal of the Joker in the Batman the Animated Series universe where he finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And the way he reveals that to Batman in that movie is just amazing. There's just an uneasy feeling about that. You hear Joker called Batman Bruce, and the way the music swells up, his dialogue, the way he just, tells Batman he's just a little boy in a place who's crying for mommy and daddy. The idea that Joker has all this information and how he got it too by torturing Tim Drake. I mean, that is the ultimate and the perfect final confrontation that Batman and Joker would have. It seems like it's the hardest thing to crack would be a satisfying finale to the Batman Joker story, but man, they pulled it off in Return of the Joker, and it's all part of that Batman the Animated Series continuity. And so just the way Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, Alan Burnett, Eric Radomski, everyone involved with the writing team that had a hand in this version of the Joker just did so many great things. And I think that was the culmination of it was in Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. And of course, Mark Hamill's iconic portrayal, his iconic laugh, the best Joker laugh you're ever going to hear. No live action actor has had a better laugh than Mark Hamill's Joker. But and you throw that in, like I said, the playful side of his performance that makes you laugh, and then just that evil, sinister side that you get of the Joker that he needs to have, and just the perfect foil to Kevin Conroy's Batman. So really, I think the thing that set it over the top when I started realizing it was the performance and portrayal of the Joker in Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. That just going back to how well they've written the Joker and Mark Hamill's performance, and just having that be the final confrontation between Batman and the Joker, that just puts it over the edge for Heath Ledger for me as far as an adaptation of the Joker. So yeah, I'm sure it's not a huge surprise to everyone, but maybe those who are listening to our Joker review episode might be a little surprised. I think on that one I said Heath Ledger was still my favorite, but again, after thinking about this topic, going back and forth, it ended up being Mark Hamill. So yeah, he will be my top Joker probably, it's safe to say forever, unless later on we get another portrayal that is as good as that, whether it is an animation or a movie. But that's another thing, the longevity of it too. We got so many great episodes and movies with this Joker. It just established a great legacy for this version. I mean, think about Mask of the Phantasm and the animated series episodes, of course, the new Batman adventures, and like I said, all culminating in Return of the Joker. So there's just so much that we got with this version of the Joker, which helps put it on at the top of the list as well. But I also want to throw in one more honorable mention. This might surprise people, but I got to give props to Cameron Monaghan's portrayal in Gotham. Now, the way it's mainly just for his performance. The story-wise that they handled the character was, not great. I mean, I talked about on episodes of how when they first killed him off and how he was just the inspiration for people, and the real Joker would come out from that. That didn't sit well with me. I didn't think that was great. But then he came back and looked like, okay, he was going to be the Joker. But no, he had a twin brother who ended up being the real Joker. All this convoluted stuff to where we finally got the actual Joker in the final season of Gotham. But Cameron Monaghan, I think, did a great job portraying a version of a Joker. I think he was at his best when he came back the third time in season 3, where they're kind of doing the death of the family Joker with the cut off face, having that as part of his look. So he wasn't in charge of the writing and all that. So I can't blame him for the stuff that he was given to work with and the story background they gave for him. But as far as just performance and capturing the essence of the Joker just by his portrayal, his laugh, I thought Cameron Monaghan did a good job. So I had to have him be an honorable mention, but not quite to crack in the top 5 just because of the story decisions they made with him. So, but at least wanted to give him a mention.
I forgot about that guy.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be able to see him in the new Star Wars game, Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, right. Yeah, he plays the main guy, right?
Yeah. I will say it's going to be a little hard to separate the two because of course, he's not going to be acting like the Joker, but he looks just like how he did in Gotham before he went crazy. So yeah, that is our featured topic.
You only had one honorable.
Oh yeah,
mention?
well, I had Cesar Romero and I mentioned him earlier. So
okay.
I don't know if you had any others that you wanted to mention.
No, Jared Leto.
Sorry, no. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's not great either. Now, I mean, Jared Leto's a good actor, so that to me that felt like a wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so I guess that's the end of our feature topic for this episode, and now we can get into our news and discussion. Our first two, or
Well,
should we separate them?
well, it's mainly all just about the Batman,
Yeah.
which is
Should,
great.
should I separate them, or should I just say all three of them?
And let's just go for all of it.
All right, so Zoe Kravitz is going to be Catwoman or Selena Kyle. Paul Dano is going to be the Riddler, and Michael Giacchino Giacchino is going to be doing the score, which I'm really excited about because he did a really good job with Rogue One.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes. I mean, talk about some big shoes to fill.
Yeah. Paul Dano also I've seen him in some stuff. He's a really good actor. Zoe Kravitz, not really sure about her. Haven't really seen her in anything. Is she really Lenny Kravitz's daughter?
I'm not sure, actually, because I'm not too familiar with her either. But when I saw
Yeah.
the name Kravitz, that's immediately what I thought of. Is
I
that
think
she
she
really is
is.
Lenny Kravitz? But I know she's Jason Momoa's stepdaughter, which is kind of
What?
cool. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well,
At least-
let's see. Hold on.
I know Jason Momoa sent out like either a Facebook or an Instagram post kind of congratulating her and welcoming her to the DC family also, and just saying how proud
Oh,
he is of her.
okay. So Lenny Kravitz is her dad, and Lisa Bonet is her mother, and Lisa Bonet is now with Jason Momoa.
There you go.
So, yeah, technically, he is her stepfather.
Yeah. No, but this is, I always say this when there's casting news because apparently I'm not much of a movie buff when it comes
Oh,
to.
wow. And she also dated Ezra Miller.
Oh, really? Man, there's just a whole big DC family
I
connection.
know.
So, yeah, like with most of these casting news, I not too familiar with Zoe Kravitz or Paul Dano. I don't think I've seen them in anything. Every time I see these casting reports, they obviously mention the roles they're best known for. When I see them, these movies, it's always where I haven't seen the film. I was like, okay, not too familiar with these actors, but I got to say, I'm good with the choices. I mean, even though I'm not familiar with them, just looking, at the images, I think they're both going to be great. I mean, I think Paul Dano looks like he just looks like a Riddler or someone that you could see having that persona of the Riddler. When we don't know if he's going to be, that's another thing. Hopefully this is the case, and it's not something where they're going to shy away from calling, him the Riddler or Selena Kyle Catwoman, because I believe they revealed Paul Dano is going to be playing Edward Nashton, not Edward Nigma. So maybe this is something where we'll see him actually become the Riddler in this movie. But
Yeah, you know what, Tim? Let's just call him Edward Nigma. He's going to be the Riddler. Why
but will
didn't
they call him
just
that in
do
the movie, though? That's the question.
Yeah, because they didn't really say the Batman in Batman versus Superman, right? He was like the Gotham Bat or
I think Perry
whatever.
White called him Batman quite a few times.
In Batman versus Superman.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Because he has that line in the trailer, too, where he goes, nobody cares about Clark Kent taking on the Batman.
He wasn't in Batman versus Superman though, right?
With Perry White?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
he was.
Yeah. He was in it. Not as much as Man of Steel, but he was in a good portion of it.
Wow, I did not remember.
Yeah.
My bad.
You might have to, about time to revisit it.
Yeah, no.
Oh, come on, hey.
I'm okay.
Just for Perry White alone. Come on. He's good at it.
Wow, they really call him Batman? I thought they just call him the Gotham Bat or the Bat.
Superman calls him just the Bat sometimes because he tells him,
Yeah.
like the Bat, bury it. Or the Bat is dead, bury it. He has that line. So, I mean, I'm just kind of hoping Matt Reeves is going, full blown, encompassing or really going all out with as far as calling the villains their villain names, the Riddler and Catwoman, because there's a part of me that wonders if they are going to be, having a little bit of that Nolan effect of keeping the realism there, which again, you guys got to have a balance with it. But I'm kind of hoping they just go full blown calling these characters by their villain personas, because we all know who they are, even if they don't say it. But this really go full blown into these villains that we're gonna see in this movie, and it's gonna be a few. Because I think when the report about Paul Dano being cast as the Riddler is that Jonah Hill was originally the one they wanted for it, but he backed away because
For the Riddler?
I believe it was, yeah.
Mhm.
I think there are conflicting reports, like either the Riddler or the Penguin, but I know when Paul Dano was cast, it was because like not too long after that is where it was revealed that that's when talks or I think he walked away. I think Jonah Hill walked away because they couldn't agree on the financial aspects of it. So then they immediately had Paul Dano, I guess, as the backup for Jonah Hill passed on it. So, but then you still hear reports is that the Penguin is the one they're looking to cast next. So, for sure we're looking at 3 villains, but there have been those reports that this is going to be a movie that's going to feature multiple Batman villains. So we'll see if we get more, but I'm just getting excited for it. Just the idea of seeing new portrayals of these iconic villains, just like we were talking about with Joker. I'm excited to see new portrayals for Catwoman and Riddler and eventually Penguin. We'll see. So, but yeah, I'm liking these casting choices, even though I'm not too familiar with their work. It's just still getting me excited to see these new actors in these iconic roles. So, yeah, I mean, just cool to get news on the Batman because production is going to be ramping up in 2020. So it's going to be here before you know it. And just the more you hear about it, the more excited to get. And as far as Michael Giacchino scoring the film, he's done a lot of Matt Reeves' movies. I know he's done the Planet of the Apes films. So I guess it's not a huge surprise, but I'm really glad he's now going to have a crack of doing a Batman score and creating a Batman theme. Because like you said, he did a great job with Rogue One. And, taking over for John Williams is no easy feat. And he created some great themes for Rogue One and just a great score overall for that movie. And I'm excited for him to do it for Batman now. And just to hear what Batman theme he will come up with. I'm not expecting it to be as great as the iconic Danny Elfman theme, which I've said before is my favorite Batman theme, and I don't think can be surpassed for me. But then you got Hans Zimmer's, which is great as well, who's done 2 of them. But so I'm always anxious to hear a new Batman theme for a movie and what a composer will come up with. So, and I think Michael Giacchino is a great film composer and should be cool to hear what he comes up with for the Batman. So just everything's lining up really well for this movie as far as getting you excited and just, shaping up to hopefully be the next great chapter in Batman cinematic history.
Yeah, and you brought up Rogue One, and if you're wondering, what my Saturday plans are, and I didn't know this, and you didn't say anything, Tim, but I'm gonna watch Rogue One with your guys' commentary. Your Saga Continues commentary.
I am honored, Dane. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Because I know you just recently watched Rogue One. I think before we recorded our last episode, you were telling me how you're a little late because you were watching Rogue One.
Yeah, I still can't believe Disney made that movie. It's not a Disney movie. It's not a happy story.
No, it's not.
Well, I guess the end, but
it's a hopeful story, but not everyone gets a happy ending.
No. None of the characters get a happy ending except for Leia.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So yeah. That's what I'm doing with my crazy Saturday night, Tim.
Cool. Well, so you'll be hearing my voice after we're done recording. So
yeah,
you're just gonna be sick of my voice by the time this day's over.
But I usually block it out, and I'm only gonna listen to Kyle and
Kyle and Paul. And every time I'm on,
every
time I'm on, you're just gonna mute it. I know what Tim's gonna say anyway. I don't need to hear him.
Yeah, I've heard it 1,000 times.
Hey, we're getting the Rise of Skywalker trailer this Monday as we're recording this episode. So,
really
I'm excited for that. Yep.
Is that going to be the final?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tickets go on sale Monday too.
Let me know how it is. I'm gonna wait for you to see it because I don't want if there's anything that's too spoilery, because you know how trailers are these days. They put out 80 of them and it tells you the entire story. So I am going to leave that in your hands, Tim. And then send me a text and say, oh, it has a little bit, but most of it is still ambiguous.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna wait for you on that one.
Okay. It's going to be interesting because I think for the most part, every Star Wars trailer we've gotten have done a great job of not giving away spoilers, but showing just enough to get you really excited about what's coming. But with the two Rise of Skywalker trailers we've got so far, we've gotten two big surprises in each of them. I mean, the first one obviously was that Palpatine's going to be back. The second one was that last shot of Darkseid Rey with the double-bladed lightsaber. And I'm just wondering what unexpected surprise is going to be in this final one. Are they going to give us one more big tease of something we're totally not expecting, or is this one going to play it a little more close to the vest since the movie is so close and they're not going to reveal everything, of course. But at the same time, I have confidence that no matter what they show, there's still plenty of big stuff that they're definitely going to hold out for the movie. But I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I don't want to be, I don't want to see anything that's going to be like, oh, that's the thing, that's the key, that Ray's going to blah, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah.
but then again, it could be misdirection.
Yeah, which a lot of people are thinking the Darkseid Ray shot is. So.
I mean, come on, that you guys as Star Wars fans should know that that's just trying to throw you off the scent. That's just probably a vision or something.
But that's so easy to think that, though. That's my thing. Immediately, a lot of people would think that, and the fact that I think it could be, a double misdirection. People are going to think it's a vision, so let's put that in there, make them think that. But really, it's something else where it's not a vision.
Yeah.
It just seems too easy to go that way.
See, now you got me thinking, Tim.
That's the whole fun of these Star Wars trailer speculations. That's why I can't wait for this new one to see what new things we're going to get that'll throw us off. Maybe something that'll either answer that it's a vision or raise more questions as far as what that actually means.
No, because I'm thinking about The Last Jedi, and the whole point of The Last Jedi was, you can't, the way of doing things, Jedi things, it can't be continued. You can't, be a Jedi anymore, in the traditional sense anymore, because look what happened.
Mm.
They got it was decay through decadence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which was kind of the whole point of the prequels. So maybe that's not a vision. Maybe it's kind of a balance of dark side and light side.
Yeah, because I was going into Last Jedi, we heard that line in the trailer, it's time for the Jedi to end, that Luke said. And I was all, and they were, like you said, they were kind of
that
painting that to
you,
be the
right?
case. Yeah, but at the same time, it could be a direction that makes sense. And I still think that could be something that happens. But the line that makes me feel that's, it is not going to be the end of the Jedi is the fact that Luke says to Kylo Ren, I will not be the last Jedi. Thus, pointing that Rey's going to continue it on. But I do agree that it can't be the same Jedi that we've seen in the previous 8 movies. I think with Rey, it's going to have to be something that's really different about it. And maybe even change the name to it. That whole speculation about being Skywalkers as the new name or, a new title instead of the Jedi. That's the Rise of Skywalker. So just tons of speculation you can go with as far as how this movie is going to end and how it's going to wrap up everything and, state of the galaxy by the time Palpatine is defeated and everything is, peaceful there. Well, at least I think that's how it's going to end. I mean, I don't think they ended on a cliffhanger. This is supposed to end the saga where, there's a lingering doubt that Palpatine or the dark side is still, well, the dark side's always going to be there, but with Palpatine, I think he's going to have a definitive end this time.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting, Dean.
See, now you got me thinking, Tim, and I'm totally distracted, and I'm just thinking about about the rise of Skywalker.
That's why this time period is so much fun. We're so close, but yeah, that's where the mind really gets going as far as thinking about possibilities of what could happen in the movie.
Or maybe Rey just ends it all. She she destroys the Jedi text and stops being a Jedi, and you know everything just ends.
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, that's not satisfying because there's always going to be force sensitive people out there, and someone's
Yeah,
gonna. It might take a while, but someone might bring up an order again.
yeah, and again that goes back to the Last Jedi, the last scene of the Last Jedi. There's always going to be force users.
Yeah.
So, can you imagine the backlash if that happened?
Well, I'm preparing for backlash no matter what. I mean, no matter how satisfying it may be for me, I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to hate it.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, that's our the Last Jedi, Rogue One, Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars talk.
But it won't be the last.
Yeah. Kind of a sad thing that the micro series isn't gonna be on Disney Plus.
Yeah, maybe eventually, but I don't know. There's Disney Plus is having so much content on there. It's incredible that
Is
you know.
is it a rights issue?
No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It's just not recognized that much that we're at Lucasfilm, I don't think, which is a shame. But
Yeah.
I'm just glad I bought the DVDs when those came out because they're really hard to get and just to come by.
Yeah, they're not available digitally.
Nope.
Yeah.
But maybe eventually when Disney Plus needs more Star Wars content to fill the gaps at some point, they'll put it on.
Yeah. Yeah, especially after Rise of Skywalker comes out. I mean, there's gonna be a vacuum, right?
Once the new Clone Wars episodes are over, so.
Oh, right, the new Clone Wars. Forgot about that.
That actually might be a good time to put it on there. There's a little tie in there.
Oh yeah, right. Is Ryan Johnson still doing his trilogy?
That's up in the air too, because his comments are kept making it more and more that it's not likely. Because I think the last interview he gave he said somewhere, "I hope it happens," or it was like they're still talking and all that type of stuff. But before it's like, "Yeah, it's happening," coming up with story ideas. Now it's, "I hope it happens." So
yeah,
I think I think a trilogy is definitely out, but I still think he'll probably do one more movie. Maybe still see how that goes, but
yeah, because I saw a tweet that, I mean, it was like somebody that doesn't like the new Star Wars, and he was all like, "Oh, good, Ryan Johnson, the guy that destroyed Star Wars."
Yeah, those people.
Yeah. But yeah.
But we'll see. They have a lot of stuff down the pipeline.
Yeah, it was a shame when I texted you about Chuck Wendig's, what is it, Empire Reborn or
Aftermath?
Aftermath, right. That it wasn't very good.
No, not really. I mean, the characters in those stories are just not great. I mean, I really couldn't get into most of them. The best part about those books, it has these interlude sections that tells you what's going on different planets and the galaxy of how they're dealing with the fall of the Empire.
Yeah.
That stuff is pretty cool, but the main story with the heroes, it's not great. The best one is the last one that deals with the Battle of Jakku. So if you're going to read any of that, would be the only one, I think.
Oh, so it's like a big story then. It's not just like, oh, let's follow this hero.
No, yeah, there's several. It's a group of heroes. A lot of them are annoying.
Because I'm reading his new book right now. It's not a Star Wars book, obviously. It's called Wanderers, and it's really, really good. It's just a shame to think that his Star Wars books weren't good or weren't well received, because I was reading the review.
They're disappointing for sure.
I was reading the reviews and I was like, because I know what happened and how he got kicked off of the Star Wars books. And is it a political thing that people disagree with him politically, and that's why they're bashing his book?
Yeah, a lot of it is that. I'm sure a lot of it is people haven't even read it. They just don't like Chuck Wendig for what he says.
Yeah.
But going in just reading one a good Star Wars story and going in a bias, I still didn't really enjoy the story that he created.
Yeah, and I needed that nonpartisan Tim take.
Yeah. So you're not missing much. Just read a Wikipedia synopsis of anything.
But yeah, I guess we can move on to our comic book reviews. This episode we're only doing one issue. That's, of course, Tim, do I even have to say it?
Well, I am a little late with it, so
Oh,
might need to.
Batman TMNT 3, number 6. The rating scale for this episode is gonna be uh, fake outs that Disney, or double fake outs that Disney puts out in their Rise of Skywalker trailers.
All right, we'll see if it becomes a triple fake out when we get the
Yeah.
last one.
Quadruple.
Yeah. Yeah, so Batman TMNT number 3. This is the last issue, and probably the last one we're going to get for a while, because I know James Tynion has said that this was meant to be his last one. Kind of his Batman TMNT trilogy ends with this. So yeah, a little sad. Shocker, you guys know how much I would love this series from the beginning. But this one, I will say, maybe not anticlimactic's too strong, but it wasn't the big final conclusion I was hoping for. Oh, there's just something missing about it, I will say right off the bat. And mainly it's just a big battle issue. We got the Turtles, 8 Turtles. Of course, you got the 4 from the main universe and then 4 from the original Turtles Prime universe, the black and white comic book versions. They're teaming up with Batman and all the Robins, Batgirl, you got Casey Jones and Shredder, all taking on Krang's robots. And just right off the bat, there's a big splash page of all the action going down with the Turtles, Batman, Robin, Shredder, Foot Clan going against the robots and Krang in the background. And they're just got to destroy this tower that's combining the two universes. And they're kind of under the pressure to get it done quickly, because pretty soon the two worlds are going to split. And if the characters are not in spots of their respective universes, because since they're together, you got locations from Batman and the Turtles all at once. But if once they split apart, they may actually be spliced between the two dimensions, and we know that's not going to be a good thing. So Alfred, Splinter, and April, they're trying to get Casey and Shredder out of Ace Chemicals, because that's where the big battle is happening. And since Shredder and Casey aren't from Ace Chemicals, they'd be split apart. So they're trying to get everyone back in their respective spots in their universe and boom two back to the normal universe locations. So again, more fun dialogue. I like seeing Shredder and Casey interact with each other. That's not a team up you see too much. And then the original comic Turtles interacting with the main Turtles here is always fun. And this the competition they're having with the Robins, it's kind of like the Legolas and Gimli thing from Lord of the Rings, see how many kills they can get. And the Turtles are in a battle with the Robins, and Damien calls them out. Hey, you got double the amount of us, so it's really not fair. So again, James Tynion always comes up with the dialogue between the Batman characters and the Turtle characters. And the two Batmans are going to destroy the main tower where the Anti-Monitor Krang is trying to split the universes apart. And they both make it. Of course, they destroy it. And the main Batman sends off the original Batman with a smile, which is another fun dialogue moment where the original Batman is saying, it's been an honor fighting with you all. Then Nightwing comments, see, Bruce, I told you could smile and you'd still be pretty awesome. And Bruce just goes, yes, I see. So, of course, we know they're going to survive this, but Krang has one more trick up his sleeve to try to, get rid of Batman and the Turtles. Is he uses last bit of power to combine Batman and the Turtles into this one, Bat Turtle monster creation. This looks creepy, but the will of Batman and the Turtles, they're able to break out of it pretty easily. So, because that didn't really amount to much. It was just like 2 panels worth of seeing Batman and the Turtles morph into this, hybrid monster. But they got out of it pretty easily, thanks to the resolve and, the Batman knowing, calling Krang out, saying what you did to try to divide us actually made us stronger, knowing like the families that, both of our universes have. So they're able to defeat Krang, blow up the tower, and they each go back to, their respective universes. But I did like how it ended, where Batman and the Turtles, say their goodbyes. And one plot point that I did like that Splinter brings out is how, even though the universes are going to go back to, being separate, Splinter said, the one good thing we got about this, or what Krang did, is now we have 2 full memories of 2 different lives, pretty much, that'll stay with him. Batman has his memories, of course, that, is part of the Batman canon, and then he has new ones now of growing up with the Turtles. I just like how Batman just says, pretty much how important those memories will be, and just how it was an honor to be part of the Turtle family and the respect he has for them. So I think that's a cool aspect to have, knowing that just because the universe is split apart again, none of what they experienced in that combined universe didn't happen. It's still there in their memories, and I think that's cool. And Batman kind of has a new lease on life now, at least in this part of the DC universe, where he's gonna be, a little more, I guess, I don't want to say lighthearted, but more open to some fun being with the Turtles, because once they get back, there's a lot work that needs to be done to get Gotham back to normal. But first, he tells Alfred to put in an order for a big stack of pizzas, and they're going to stay in tonight. And he has that smile on his face that Dick says he should have more often. So some good stuff in here. Just, I don't know, not a lot that went down as far as plot-wise as, the whole taking what Krang had planned and how they were going to take him down. It was just very basic: destroy his tower and everything will be back to normal. So, but again, this character interactions is what makes this comic so much fun to read, and it continued on in this one. So even though it wasn't quite the big epic conclusion I was hoping for, it was still a fun, satisfying read for me as a Batman TNT fan. So I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 double fake outs Disney's going to put in the Rise of Skywalker trailer. And, just to say, since this is the last issue we're going to get, got to give props to James Tynion for an epic Batman TMNT trilogy that I never thought would be possible. I mean, when we got that first announcement of the first crossover, it blew my mind. And I was just going into it not expecting a whole lot of story, but just a fun comic that's going to combine two of my favorite franchises together for a fun, cool story. But though I was blown away, as you guys know, when I reviewed it those few years ago now, which is hard to believe, but how blown away it was with the heart and soul of the story that was in that issue. That just really struck a chord with me of why both of these franchises are great on their own, but then work together so well with that theme of family. And James Tynion knocked it out of the park in that first story, and it continued on. Nothing was going to top that first arc. I think that one's always going to be the gold standard, but I still enjoyed the second one that dealt with Donatello and Bane, and then this one with the Crisis in the Half Shell combining the different universes. I thought was a pretty cool idea that probably started off strong, but didn't quite, I think, go as far as I think they could have, as really having fun with that idea. But it was still a cool story to read nonetheless, and just really glad that we even got 3 different stories of Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by James Tynion. Again, never thought that would be possible. It was just awesome that this even exists. We got an animated movie about it. That's how great that first story arc was, and just how well the dynamic between Batman and the Turtles works. So just this whole idea, I just could not be happier with how, these last few years have been of getting Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stories for, a couple of years now. I mean, that's just crazy to me, and I just could not be happier with that. So thank you, James Tynion, and thank you, DC and IDW, for making this possible. You made this diehard Batman and Turtle fan a very, very, very happy. So, yeah, that's it for the comic reviews. I am behind on Batman, unfortunately. I know the City of Bane arc is still going on. The last I read were a few of those Batman Catwoman issues where they're on vacation at a beach after Bane killed Alfred, and I got to be honest, I'm not a big fan of those ones. It was setting up of Selina getting Bruce back into the fight, but a lot of it was the same stuff Tom King has been, doing since the beginning. The whole Batcat stuff, remembering when they first met and their relationship. I know it's trying to build their relationship back and get Batman in the fight, but I don't know. I just wasn't a big fan of it. I know I got to get caught up to see how it ends. So hopefully by the next episode I'll be caught up, but we'll see. The one last thing I want to mention too is, since this is the only comic book review I had, one thing I wanted to give a quick review of is the last few episodes of Titans season 2, in particular the one that just aired this past Friday. The season 2, it started off a little slow, but it's really getting going now once we got into the 4th, 5th, and 6th episode, where you're dealing with Deathstroke a lot. He's making his presence known. Then they introduced Connor Kent, who had a great episode, aka Superboy. But this last episode that was titled Bruce Wayne, it was totally not what I was expecting, but I loved it. Without giving too much spoilers, basically it's Bruce is in Dick's head, and Dick is going through a lot right now, kind of concealing some secrets, not letting the team in on everything. And he's picturing what Bruce would say to him in his head. And Ian Glenn's performance in this episode, kind of playing Dick's conscience, so to speak, as Bruce Wayne, he just gives a totally different performance of Bruce Wayne you've never seen before in live action, but it works. He does some stuff that will make you laugh, do things that you would never expect Bruce to do, but at the same time, he still displays that fatherly mentor aspect to Dick that Bruce has for him. And again, it's all in Dick's head, but it just shows that that's how Bruce or Dick views Bruce as well too. So it's just a great combination of different portrayals as Bruce, and it was just really fun and entertaining to see. It was kind of like Ian Glenn's coming out moment for making his stamp as for his portrayal of Bruce Wayne in that episode. So it was just a lot of fun, and Titans really is kicking into gear now with their season-long story. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. The only bummer is I watched season 1 on a binge. And now I got to wait week to week. It's at the point where once an episode's over, you just can't wait for next week. So that's a good sign of a TV show when it's making you eagerly anticipate the next one. So yeah, if you haven't caught up on Titans, I haven't watched it yet. Just, I waited forever to watch it until it came on the app came on my Xbox. Now that it has, I'm so glad I did. And season 2 is continuing that. It's been a really good adaptation of these characters. So if you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend it. Just for this episode with Ian Glenn's Bruce Wayne alone, I just think they did some interesting, fun stuff with it. So yeah, Titans has been really good in season 2.
Forgot about Titans.
Yeah. I think it's time you should check out.
I don't know. Now with the DC app going away.
Well, that's not for sure. Even if it does go away, I think Titans migrate over to their new service, which is HBO Max, but that's not in the foreseeable future.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for this episode, right, Tim?
Yep, that's it for this one.
All right, just go over to thebatmanuniverse.net, facebook.com/thebatmanuniverse, Twitter handles at @batmanuniverse. The show's Twitter handles at Bat-Fans Podcast. Tim's Twitter handles at TimG311. My Twitter handles at Dane Says Banana.
What was that?
At Dane Says Banana. Rate and review us on iTunes, and you can email the show at batfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, like we say at the end of every single episode, Tim.
We love each and every one of you with all of our bat and nervous Yankee fan hearts.
Hopefully the Yankees win, Tim.
You'll find out in 2 weeks. Stay tuned, listeners.
See you guys next time.
See you later, everybody.